promoter, if you would lead us in a word of prayer, followed by the pledge of allegiance to our flag.
Lord, we're about to this morning, we realize how small we are, Lord. We don't have sense enough to take care of the business that's been laid before us. But Lord, we take a lot of comfort in knowing that you do. And I beg, Lord, we seek your guidance in every decision we make, every action we take. Lord, I beg that you be beside us, show us the way you'd have us to go, open our eyes to the road you'd have us to take. Forgive us for the times that we haven't done that. Thank you so much for your son, Jesus, and the greatest blessing of all, and that's salvation through his death, burial, and resurrection. I beg for Christ's sake. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first business on the agenda is consider approving the board minutes for March 2016. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes? Second. All in favor? Opposed? I got an email from Ms. Bowman. She's out sick today. About go ahead and approve it. Are you already approved the claims docket? Has anybody looked at it? Just got any questions? She's trying to get her employees to start writing checks this morning to speed her up. It's up to y'all. I told her I'd bring it up to you. Got any questions? If you're fine on the docket, can we go ahead and get a motion to approve the docket? Motion. Right. All in favor? She would like from this day forward to try to put this at the beginning of the agenda. So if y'all would, be ready to ask any questions when we come back, I guess, in our meetings to, if you got any questions on the docket before we approve. All right, next we got the Picayune Chamber of Commerce 80th celebration. Y'all fill us in on that.
Good morning. It is my honor to invite all of you to our 80th anniversary celebration. It's going to be held on April 15th at the Water's Edge restaurant at Hideaway Lake. With me, I have our president and director of the chamber, Mr. Byron Hill. I also have Kenny McDonald, our vice president of the Chamber of Commerce. And it is our pleasure to present to you invitations. Each of you will get a ticket, and we hope to see you there. We have very special guests. We have the Secretary of State with us on that day. He will be our keynote speaker, as well as Joy Foy from MBA. She's going to be providing closing remarks. We hope that this celebration will not only present us with the opportunity to celebrate a tremendous milestone in Pearl River County, but it will also set the stage for the future. We are unveiling our website on that day, our new website, and we hope that it becomes a resource for economic development for Pearl River.
We're going to present all the ticket to come, and if your wife is going to come with you, we'd love to go buy a ticket.
Thank you, sir.
And would you give me that?
Thank you.
First item I have is personnel. I have a couple of add-ons to that.
Oh, full-time, we need to stay on full-time. Can I just change it over here and there? I'll just scratch it off.
What we're doing is, we're removing Eddie Joe's laid off at his request. His request that he go from full-time to part-time to stay on our list to work part-time, but didn't think about it, he needs to be certified through us, to continue to do what he's doing, so we're scratching that off.
All right, can I get a motion for personnel change in the sheriff department?
Motion.
All in favor?
And my next item is a couple of invoices for the jail on some cleaning supplies and some sanitary stuff, thinking about $800.
Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
My next item is to reimburse Becky for some travel expense for some courses that we went to in Florida, $163.
Yes. Do you resubmit that at a later date?
The last item I have is, it's coming up time to renew our medical contract, so we can meet with people to see if we can get a better deal, and we found a company, Quality Correction and Health, care that we would like to submit a contract for Mr. Joe to look at it, to see if we would be able to sign it, and his contract would be for $445,000 a year. We pay a health insurance $556, so we would be saving like $111,000 a year on that contract if we would get a contract worked out. My request is that he review the contract.
I think after we look at it, Sheriff, that we'll not get together, and then we'll have to cancel the other one, and we'll have to look at the other one, see what would have to be done, how much notice we have to give, or is it up?
It expires this summer, I think, maybe around through May or June, you know, about the date.
We just need to look at it to make sure we properly cancel one before we have to.
Time for me to wake up.
Like that's the last time I had, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Let me talk to you about this.
Sheriff, I got a question.
Yes.
Not too much, but I should know it. Do we have in God we trust on our cars?
Yes.
We say anymore?
County engineer update?
Morning. I don't have but just a minute, unless there's any questions or directions for me. Everything's going well with our projects. But I did want to comment on the Bill Terrell Road. you and I talked about Sandy and possible closure of that road. I looked into that and wrote a letter to Joe concerning that road and the possibility of closing it. And I guess, you'll probably take the next step, I guess, the site visit from the supervisor committee would be the next step. I did mention to him in the letter that there may be some access issues for adjoining landowners, that need to be dealt with. But the road is only, the paved surface is only about 10 feet wide. There's no ditches. The right of way may be 15. It's just like a little small trail that's been paved and made a public road. My concern would be access for some landowners in the back that would need to be dealt with. But in my opinion, it would be in the interest of the county to close the road because of the maintenance issues that are there. And if it's the desire of landowners, because there's about 7 landowners that are involved, but that road is all it is.
Yes, how did y'all appoint the committee last time? 2 assistant time? Yeah, look at it. Who y'all look at? I'm gonna go look at it. It's, just behind the old Cubby Hole, Caribou.
What's the name of the road?
Bill Terrell.
Yeah, okay.
Loop from committee around the highway. It's only about 800 or 900 feet long. It's a pretty short distance.
Okay.
That's all I've got, unless there's questions or direction that you may have from this.
Anything for this? Al, you submitted the paperwork to MDOT on that ozone and Old Highway 11 intersection. Did you submit that to them, the paperwork?
Yes.
Okay.
Suzanne Dees is the traffic engineer that's looking into that. And I was supposed to get a report from her today on where they stood, so I could report that, but I haven't heard from her. But I'll call her today and see where she stands with that. But my request was that they look into reduced speeds on there, plus flashing dangerous intersection lights, especially coming from the south where the railroad overpass is. But I'll get a report from her and let you know what she says.
Okay, thank you. Road department?
First item I have on the agenda this morning is personnel. Request permission to hire Chris Johnson as the position operator.
I give a motion to set personnel change in the road department.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Second thing I have is a request to purchase a rubber wheel roller from Mid-South Equipment. I got 2 quotes on that. One of them at $48,661 and the other one is $52,000.
It's out cheaper.
There's only just, that's actually that brand is the only one that offers one that size.
Both are Kubota.
Well, it's a Leaf brand,
Yeah.
but it's got the Kubota engine and all that, transmission, all that,
Okay.
all the Kubota components.
This is big enough we can grow into it, we're not gonna grow out of it.
No.
Make a motion that we purchase roller from
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, that's it.
Second thing I have is a request to go out for bids for a tandem, vibratory roller.
Got your specs laid out.
Yes,
Yours.
specs and all that, and advertise it.
I'll make a motion we advertise bids for laboratory roller.
All in favor?
That's it.
Chip?
That's all. All right, thank you.
assessment of real and personal.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Next thing I have some homestead changes to the homestead rule.
We have a motion to accept the homestead roll changes.
Motion. Second.
The next thing, I'm sorry, the next thing is some void homestead escapes. We'll be placing judgments on these. This is where they sold property and still had the homestead charge back out there.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
I have one more thing. This was an invoice that was turned in after the deadline. She's already done the work, and we're just gonna see if we can get that on the docket to get paid.
Okay, this is a, training
Yes, sir.
for,
He came to our office and did some training.
okay. All right. We get a motion to pay for his training for the tax office.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
That's all I have. Thank you.
I don't know if Joe wanted to have one thing for executive session, and I don't know if he's coming back.
Yeah, he's in the back, chair.
Okay.
County extension, agent.
Good morning.
Morning, Doug.
I'm recommending 6 people be added to the fair committee. And according to the bylaws, the board of supervisors have to approve those recommendations. We took applications and posted on Facebook looking for people interested in serving on the committee. We had several people that applied, we reviewed those applications. And considered the ones that we needed to fill the certain positions that we needed help in with the fair, and these are the ones that we ended up with.
I'll make a motion that we add these to the fair committee. You may call them out. Second.
I get a second.
Okay.
Got it. All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you.
Next is our justice court. Consider approving collection agency. We need to look at this contract to make sure everything's in order. I kinda read over it last night real good. Gonna go back to that. And,
While we're waiting on, Joe, can I switch gears for just a
Go
second?
ahead.
After the last meeting, I got a lot of phone calls. And I expected I would, that's fine, y'all call me, my number's listed. I thought it'd be concerning the Chancery Clerk, not a one. Several people calling for different things, but by and large, the majority of the callers were about one thing. And, they had their own opinion about what should be done about one certain thing. Now, part of my campaign platform was that the opinion of my voters is paramount in my opinion, 100% of the time. I'm here to support them. If a man can't do that, then you've elected the wrong man. So I took it upon myself to do a poll. I called a lot of people, talked to a lot in person, some of you said. A lot of them didn't have an opinion one way or the other. But a lot of them did, and every one of them that did had the same opinion and were steadfast in that opinion. I haven't talked to any of these gentlemen up here. If y'all don't agree with what I'm about to do, it's on me. I take full responsibility. But believing it to be the will and opinion of the vast majorities of the voters of District 4, I would like to offer a motion to the board that effective immediately, we no longer supply a vehicle to the county administrator.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
anybody, Adrian, if you need a vehicle, I got one and I'll bring it to you, and I think everybody else sitting up here would. Absolutely no reflection. It's just that I gotta go the way my voters tell me.
Yes, sir.
While we're on the subject of vehicles, something came up. The new county vehicle supervisors got, there was $29,000 spent to accessorize it. From window tint to brush guards to receiver hitches to toolboxes and everything else. Why does the taxpayer need to furnish the supervisors a vehicle, then pay for the accessories for them to put on them and doll them up with WeatherTech floor mats instead of an off-the-rack set of floor mats? 29, two of them are four-wheel drives. All the roads in the county are blacktop. Why do we need to pay $3,500 auction to get four-wheel drive?
They're all four.
Just a
They're all,
question.
they're all four-wheel drive, not just two of them.
Can I just?
Yeah.
We did put a lot of stuff on it. I spent the last 2 weeks, and Daniel tell you, out at Walkout. I've been in four-wheel drive about half the time. If you'll go look in the toolbox in the truck that you have so graciously supplied me with, it's full of tools that I need to put up signs. Matter of fact, there are signs and signposts in that truck right now. It came for some reason without floor mats. We bought floor mats. Now, I could have cut a piece of carpet through that, but we bought floor mats. Because eventually, I'm gonna have to haul somebody around who's thinking about moving to this county and putting in an industry. Now, being four-wheel drive and me being short, I had to have a step to get up in it. And if I need to pay for that, I'll be glad to. That's on me. But it just makes the truck worth more. We didn't put anything on them that won't make them last longer. Personally, I think it's money well spent. Now, for all my life, I've had a truck and I've had a farm. That's the worst two things you can put together. So I understand what needs to go on a truck to make it last longer. This will make these trucks worth more. It'll make them last longer. The bumper hitch, we've got a bunch of trailers that have equipment on them that's going to need to be moved in emergency times, generators and such, supplies. We got to have a bumper hitch. I didn't do the window tint, but I'm sure that that's something that's needed. What else did you have a problem with on the truck?
I think you pretty much answered everything. To put out there the trailer hitches and all that, I lend my truck, it ain't my truck, it's the county truck, but the, election commissioners usually pull trailers. I mean, if you're gonna have a truck that needs to be suitable to do what we need it for, they should've got me a Hummer. I moved the trailer for Relay for Life, the generators during the storm. I mean, a few weeks ago, I was out at 3 in the morning. I mean, y'all think, I know a lot of you think we don't do nothing, but Danny's a one-man operation over at the EOC, and we've cut back on, so I feel it's my duty to help Danny. So, I was out there on the road with him, and like at Walkout, we had people pulling campers out and everything else. And everybody's gonna disagree with everybody at one time or another, but, I don't, now, to tell you what we did with our other trucks, they were dispersed out to departments that had trucks wore out. My truck went to, or the county truck went to Skip, and we put him a, construction rack on it, bring him all pipe, do his job, and got a trailer pulled behind him. That truck had 70,000 miles on it to give to me from the sheriff department. I traded him a car that I had when I first got elected. He used it for transport, I think. And that truck was bought with grant money back then before my time, before I came in. But the trucks are four-wheel drives. They're plain Jane V6s. 8 years, you said the first county truck we bought. But I hadn't bought a vehicle until now. But we didn't just buy trucks. We had to disperse more trucks out to departments. One truck went to the building inspector. That's where one of them went. So that's why I said all four-wheel drives. I think it was a 6 total. whatever.
Yeah, and part of those expenses that, you're talking about were the toolboxes and, ladder racks and stuff that went on the, a truck for the maintenance guy. And as far as the tinted windows, I guess that's the only thing you wasn't mentioning. I tinted the window, had the windows tinted on my truck, because my truck is my office, all my paperwork, everything is in there, my filing cabinets. I don't want just anybody walking by to look over and see what all's in that truck. But that's the only thing I think it wasn't, but that's the reason I had it.
We've all spent a lot of our own money, there's a bed liner in mine, and, I just went by and had to put it in, I paid for it myself. It didn't cost much, but, I think we've all spent money.
I've got about a $600 cell phone booster in mine that I paid for out of my pocket. Up in the north end of the county, there's a lot of places you don't get a real cell phone reception.
Well, I think we answered his question. And he might not, I know him well as anybody in here, he probably disagrees with everybody else. There is reasons for having certain things, and my truck, when I ain't doing county work, it's parked. I mean, my neighbor will tell you that. And, it sits right in front of my house, I park it right in front, where everybody can see it. Yes, sir.
Well, while we're speaking about vehicles, I have a question directly to agent, the county vehicle that you own, how much of the county building do you use for that vehicle? The county vehicle that you're trying to have, how much of the county business do you do with that vehicle?
All of them.
So how much would that be? How much would you tell them? That's for the mileage I'm talking about. Well, let me rephrase that. In your own opinion, do you need that in order to conduct county business?
Sometimes I need it, sometimes just come back for work, probably not, sometimes it is, but it's the will of the Lord, that's fine.
I have a question. So when he's conducting county business, so you will pay him mileage for using his private vehicle?
Well, that was my question. Will he still have access, just like they had with Ashford the other day? Will he still have access to a vehicle?
Yeah, he would come, I guess, well,
If there's a vehicle available, he will have access to it, if he doesn't, we'll just reimburse him out. I think we do that for Mr. Beach and several other people here, just do it like we do it today, if that suits you both.
Okay, that's what I was getting.
the vehicle's here, he comes to work, he's in to do county work, reports back, turns it back in.
You know, but the thing is, we're gonna need the vehicle somewhere else, the sheriff will probably use it. I don't know what we'll do with the vehicle, but it's a $40,000 piece of equipment that don't need to stay parked.
Mr. Moore, could I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
They seem to be variable all over the state. Every county's got a different system about transportation of supervisors. Scott County up there, they furnish a vehicle, furnish gas. They were paying mileage to Lee County, they was paying mileage to the supervisors. They were, some of them double dipping and got in the press, and they voted that they would reimburse them a maximum of $200 a month. Now, them supervisors in Lee County are using their own transportation, they get reimbursed 50 cents a mile. The maximum they get is $200. Now, they're getting by without somebody furnishing him a four-wheel drive pickup. Wouldn't it be a lot easier, save a lot of money if you would just reimburse everybody mileage and put a maximum on it, keep people from double dipping?
At 50 cents a mile, $200, that means I can't go 400 miles. I can't work for 1 week a month. Is that what you want?
Well, if they doing it, why are you so more important than they are? What are you doing?
I didn't mean to imply that I was more important. I just work harder than they do. I'm a full-time supervisor.
Well, how many miles you think you should be reimbursed?
Any mile that I do as supervisor work, if I do it in my truck, before I got my truck, I was reimbursed for every single mile.
Well, wouldn't it still be cheaper if we reimbursed mileage and it was to buy a pickup, insurance and all this stuff?
What was your reimbursement for the time you use your personal vehicle?
For a month? Well, there are 2 trips to Jackson. because I had to go to supervisor school. So let's take that out. And I don't know exactly, but I'm gonna say for that month, it was around, $500, $600, $700, $800.
What would you think about per mileage would be a fair amount?
What we pay is a fair amount, when you figure how much your vehicle costs and the upkeep of it. It's 53 cents a mile, is that right?
It's IRS standard.
Right.
It's 54.
We get,
Federal rate's 54.
you know, we buy vehicles on state vehicle contract, which is a lot less expensive than we can buy one just as a general public.
Yeah, my vehicle in all its glory costs less than $30,000.
Well, how much does it cost per month to keep you in a vehicle, Mr. Moore?
Well, if I can drive this vehicle for 8 years like Sandy did his last one, do the math. 8 years divided by $30,000, and it's actually less than $30,000.
Well, that's not counting the insurance and the maintenance and all these other
Right.
things.
Right.
What would be the most economical?
The most economical is for the county to supply me with a truck and buy my gas. Now, they'll tell you, I tried to give mine back. We brought in a new officer, and we got to buy him a truck. And I said, just let him take mine, and they can pay me by the mile. And Malcolm said, well, he can take mine too. I think we'd all rather work by the mile, because I can make more money, but that's
Well,
not-
you already, I'm sure you're a good citizen, you got liability, you got insurance on it, and they could reimburse you.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be double, it wouldn't have to buy two sets of liability for you.
You didn't know, maybe, I don't know if you heard how much he said.
Let me tell you, I am tickled to give my truck up and go back to 53 cents a mile.
I think you're a smart man, I think
Well,
that's a good motion, and it saves money, and
It's
It's gonna cost the county
a lot
money.
more money to pay for like 53 cents a mile than it does to furnish a vehicle.
Here's one thing, if you don't think we don't get called out, you come right with, stay with me a while. And I ain't trying to get in the middle of what you and him were talking about, but I'm gonna say this. There's a lot of times I'm in my personal truck. The other night, somebody called me chewing me out about something. I backed into the post at the Dollar General in my truck, and I got a $700 bill I gotta fix my own truck with. Cause I'm always on the phone listening to somebody chewing me out. That's part of my job. I mean, but my wife, she's in my ear, watch where you going. I backed into the post and I told her to back into my truck. But the thing is, I get called out 5 o'clock in the morning to go look at beavers in Northfield. I mean, people won't call you, they want you to respond to it. I mean, I can turn in mileage too, but I'm gonna tell you right now, or either I ain't gonna go when they call me, if you want me to turn mine in, you know.
Well, I'm sure all of us use our personal vehicles. They certainly have also, and never turn, of course, we never turn mileage in for it, which would be the right thing to do, when we do have a county truck. But if you do the math on it, it's way cheaper to furnish a truck at the cost we pay for them than to pay somebody 53 cents a mile.
And the IRS, gets all our checks too. We get, have to pay for using them trucks as far as I guess, are you pay? I don't know how they done it, they sure tax me on it. Every check. I think at the end of the day, I thought about when I first got office, not even taking a vehicle, but I heard paying somebody in office before to pay his whole truck note to turn in mileage.
Absolutely.
And,
Driving your truck yourself.
I mean, I thought about getting me another truck, turning in mileage, but at the end of the day, people, you go ride around somebody's place, you ain't notifying who you are, they gonna come out with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
I done had that happen a few times too, so, I think it's all out in the open, how y'all feel about it, how we address what your concerns were about it, but, anything else, anybody gotta say anything else, like to move on? Yes, ma'am?
I don't see anything wrong with the county employees having county vehicles as long as they're using it for county business.
Not abusing.
Right, I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, I don't think anybody would wanna take a job, and even if they got mileage, wear their personal vehicle out doing county business. I mean, even if you're making enough off of mileage, when you quit your job or get re-elected, your vehicle be more out, riding on these county roads and stuff.
Yes, sir.
Only thing I gotta say is, Andy, you're right about that. But stay out of Paul's pastry at 4:30 on Friday evening. You're smearing it in my face. In a county truck, pulled up in the front door at 4:30 on Friday, and going
Well,
to Paul's
he
pastry.
might have been meeting somebody that called him or something.
He was taking donuts to walk out of block.
No. Where's the B3 at?
All right, anything else on the vehicles?
Well, there's something got to be wrong in this state. Each county's got a different way of system to do it. Somebody's got it right, somebody's got it wrong.
They're all different. When we go to our conferences, I seen a county in a Mercedes. I said, well, you know, he said it was drug forfeiture vehicle at the sheriff's department. But he had the county road on the bottom of the door in a Mercedes. But that was on the north end of the state. But everybody's got it different. Joe, what is your opinion on supervising down a vehicle? I mean,
I think just follow the law like you've been doing. I mean, you have a right to have a vehicle, or you have a right to draw the mileage, and it makes business sense to draw the mileage. If you want to make money, if you want to do what's right for the county, take the vehicle. And it's addressing the fact that they do it differently all over the state. That's why I encourage these guys to go to these conferences and even these national conferences and all the clerks and everybody else. I encourage them to go see how other people do it, get the idea, let's do it the best way. And I've always told there's no such thing as useless information. We appreciate you bringing it to our attention, but maybe in Lee County they're satisfied to do it that way, but down here it's just not feasible. Their county is not near as big as our county. We have one of the biggest counties in the state, and to drive from one end to the other can take a while. And I really think that there's no reason we shouldn't do it the way the law allows. And I agree with Richard. He handed me some stuff today that can't be used for personal use. And that's subject to certain limitations, and they can be taken home if the board determines that they're an employee, that they're subject to being called out at all hours of the day and night and having to go do duties. And then you can legally take a vehicle home, and the board can authorize that. And I would encourage you to do it for people that need it. Because you certainly don't need somebody needing some help and somebody can't come help them because their lights off somewhere in their car, or, you just never know. There are other cars broken down. These vehicles are reliable. They can respond to any situation. The guys are willing to do it. So, frankly, a lot of people, if they got a call at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, might not answer it. These guys do.
That's an employee, elected official that they're concerned with. That law, their use of the vehicle, that's their vehicle, that's part of their.
Didn't you have a drainage issue a while back? Didn't you come up here talking to us about a drainage issue?
No, sir, I didn't, but I do have a drainage problem where off this Apple Road, I'm in the city limits now. They've done a beaver pond over about 15 years, and it causes flooding. And the gentleman that's in charge of the beavers, I would appreciate he'd come over and look at it.
I'll talk to him. The reason I said,
I don't know whether it's lies in the city. We in the city now. I don't know whether it's the county or the city's responsibility.
right, no, I think the city is trying to do something. The same guy we use with USDA. Me and Charlie was out
A couple weeks ago.
a few weeks ago blowing up some dams with him.
Well, we'd soon be in the city limits 4 years and they hadn't done anything. So
I know the city was voting on Eric Morris was getting that. Get with Charlie, get with him and find out where he's at. We'll try to turn him.
I'll get with you in just a minute.
And they've done it several times.
All right.
well, I
One
think
thing,
it's
tomorrow at 1:45, they're putting the lettering on your truck that I use. Oh, it's gonna be pretty. And it's gonna have my name and my phone number on it. So if y'all see it somewhere it ain't supposed to be, call me right then. It might got stolen. There are days when I get up early and I go take a look at my cattle, and I come back and I get in the county truck and I stay in it all day long answering calls. It's not like it used to be. We're pretty busy. I thought I'll just keep nursing and do this job on the side. If I win, I was a fool. You can't do two jobs. and give this one what it needs.
It's considered a part-time job, but if you're doing it part-time, you're not doing it right.
Amen.
To be honest with you.
I hate to say this, excuse me for interrupting you, but a prior board member calculated one time how much an hour these guys get for running. And it's absolutely difference the amount per hour that the supervisors get paid for what they do. And like most county and other public officials, they're underpaid.
I had over 4,000 minutes on my cell phone last month.
Joe knows I have a lot of drainage in my district, and that's what I ran for. People kept flooding and things like that. If I get a call, I have Joe out in the ditch with me in his suit on. I mean, if it's,
Anybody want water?
we go look at it, make sure we can, actually do anything on private, private property or not.
Thank you, sir.
All these phone calls aren't friendly, but are.
I keep the good ones. Somebody leaves a message every now and then thanking me for something. I get discouraged. I listen to it. But no, and I'm not saying I'm perfect either, y'all. But I try to do the best and try to do what's good. Y'all get me? Hey.
I'm just stop by, pick up the water bottle before I come to work this morning.
But if I can tell you anything, any question is not a dumb question for me. Y'all help, y'all need to help hold us liable for what we do and ask the question.
These guys do as a road department, I will say this for all of them. When we're out at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and these bad storms and stuff, I do communicate with these guys. So they are, what they're telling you is the truth, all of them.
All right, we're gonna move on to the Justice Court. I'm sure then we'll meet and we'll talk about some more things. Joe, we've got a collection agent for the contract. I held up, I didn't want to approve a contract till you look at it.
Well, I looked at it, I think we can modify it where it would be acceptable. It's going, like most contracts, we get it's gonna need some modifications to the circumstances. And, I'd be happy to do that, I just haven't had a chance to do it now. And, I think I need to work with the Justice Court to make sure we get where they can live with it and where Adrian can live with it. But it can be done. If y'all want to look at a collection agency or any, or several collection agencies and decide who you want to do business with, because, I know we have some fairly local people that were here a while back and were doing some of it for us, and it worked out where we ended up not using them any longer, and we did mention them, we'd notify them if we were going to do something like this, and I always encourage something like this to bid it off, and get the best bid you can. I know the only contract these people have in Mississippi is at Diamond Head.
Yes.
And,
rest up in New Jersey and everywhere else.
they're out of Georgia, I think, and
A lot of them from Florida.
yeah, out of Florida. I would just encourage you to open it up for competitive bidding, or at least competitive quotes or something. I don't know if that process has been followed here or not.
I know there was at least 2 or 3 that submitted information to Kathy. And, this was one that she preferred over the others. I know I did look at the collection rate that this company was charging compared to other ones, and it was less to the county.
Some people she used before that we had issues with. I don't know if she wants to use them again, or how it works. But like you said, we need to open it up.
Well, I mean, that's up to y'all. I would just suggest maybe you get her and talk with her about it and see. She'll probably be here from this department. We have a meeting this afternoon. You can discuss it with her and then make a decision then.
Okay.
No, it's table it till later.
Okay. We can table the collection agency and move on and check the final judgment on bond. Okay, let's see what we got here. She's asking that we accept the check in the amount of $500 for final judgment on the bond. Can you get approval to accept that check?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Next on the agenda, Chancery Clerk Homestead adjustments for 2015.
Adrian, does that need to be done in two separate things, or is it just need to be, and that's got two that she wants to reject, and then she wants to accept the rest of them from the state?
Yes.
Alright, the big batch is just the, basically the state, the denials for Department of Revenue. Then there's two in there that Melinda reviewed, and, she doesn't want the board to accept those requests from the Department of Revenue because she feels like they were in error or something, and that they do need to get homestead.
All right, so can I have a motion to approve the request for the homestead adjustments from the Chancery Clerk?
I think you'll need to do two motions.
That was for the first one. I think the first one's just for the adjustment.
Just to accept the adjustment.
Accept the adjustment on the first two.
I'll make a motion to that effect, accept the adjustments on the first two.
And then you need one to, accept Melinda's recommendation that we, I guess, deny them for.
All right, I got a motion on the first. All in favor? Can I get a motion to, for the second?
So moved. Second.
I think you've already done that. Is that done?
We do them with separate.
Okay. All in favor? All I got?
Can I ask a question, because one of them was mine, so I'm clear, Adams. It's a shock when you get a letter and then you've got, you're guilty until proven innocent that you paid.
Did you file your appeal with Melinda?
Yes, we did, I hadn't heard a word.
What's your address? What street do you live on?
3004 Woods Road.
Yeah.
Is it on the big list or the short
It's
list?
on homestead adjustments.
Okay, but no, it wasn't, it was deemed that there was not, for whatever reason, I haven't looked at it, but it was deemed that it couldn't be rejected, so it had to have been accepted through the state's request. But you'll have to come into the office and talk to me about it when I can look at it. Sorry.
We paid this last February, it's a joke. They couldn't open, IRS couldn't open up the file, and they got the check and never contacted our CPA. It's a
They said you failed to file a state income tax return?
Yeah, no, yeah, my husband, he works in Louisiana, and they got that credit with the difference, but they got the check and everything. And the IRS said that, someone couldn't open up the file, and it just got passed on. And we did pay back in February of 2015.
Same thing happened to my mother a few years ago.
And the only way we found out was the bank called us, who we had personal friends with, and said, hey, they got a hold on your checking account. IRS corrected it, and everything, just trying to correct it with the homestead exemption letter, everything's been sent. But with everything, I guess, going on with the office, we hadn't heard anything.
As of right now, they're saying that it's not correct on this list today.
Yeah, I guess it's correct, it needs to be corrected then. Guilty until proven innocent. We did call the office, and they did say, your office, that it was gonna be taken care of this meeting at the next Board of Supervisor meeting, and my husband said, do I need to be there? My wife goes there for her work, and they said, oh, no, you don't need to be there, there's several of them.
Did you file anything written? Did you file
Oh,
anything in
most
writing?
definitely.
To our office though?
Most definitely. Filed, emailed, we were gonna hand carry it, but they said that wasn't necessary.
Okay, well, whenever, I get back over there, I'll look into your,
Please
your
do.
problem.
Thank you.
All right.
There's probably 200 or 300 on that list that I can't think of it off the top of my head. Sorry.
So I guess the next item on the agenda, we've got that taken care of, it's Mark Cruising, the final check.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's a worker checks and they received it, so.
Okay. Next, we have circuit clerk's request for installing a counter. What is she want here? Is it right there?
That's when you walk it over there on the second floor into it, it's just, you just walk in and everything's open. And I want to put a L-shaped sign with some desks in there, to basically.
That's gonna be on the second floor?
It's needed up there.
Yeah. I'll make a
They
motion.
keep
Yeah.
secret files on the desk and stuff, people like to come in and catch them shuffling through their desk, and definitely something that's needed up there.
I'll say it, no.
All right, all in favor? Okay, the next, on the agenda is approved invoice for work on picking shelter. Now, I made a call this morning and talked to Steve about this. I got pictures of, I wanna know why the bill was this high and what all was done. He found a leak on the capillary tube of that system. Luckily, it fixed it. I mean, the capillary tubes, you have about 20 or 30 little bitty lines going in one. He fixed the leak and he had it pressured up with nitrogen. That's a big system, and that's why it's, he said it would have, if it had been somebody else, he would charge $7,000. You know. But my opinion of this is, what is it over here? We need to pay the bill, and we need to move forward with this contractor on these problems with these storm shelters, because this is ridiculous. Whatever we gotta do, I'm ready to pull the plug and go as far as we gotta go, fighting on these air conditioners.
I'll make a motion, we pay the bill and fix it.
And I got,
I say, on the cost, I
thought, as far as checks and balances with the, storm shelters, I know they've come up a couple of times since I've been here. And what kind of oversight do we have as far as somebody overseeing any work that goes on when somebody's called on?
the school is supposed to be primary in, the maintenance of it.
Does their maintenance department not do
They do, but,
what they can't handle when it comes to money?
yeah, but this situation, I think, was after hours. We had people in the shelter, and, we called, I guess they, Danny, you know anything about who called Steve? Les did? Okay.
This one we had a flood going on, and the guy that we deal with has been coming, working on it since no deal, and it was going to, no way he could get up here to after the weekend, to next week. And he knew that Steve worked on the one,
He sent me pictures of the leak.
carrier. He does all that.
The guy,
Yeah.
Steve Surpass does carriers, maintenance, Donald. Nobody knows how to work on these things. He's taught himself how to work on them. The company that makes them, even know how to fix it. So Steve is probably a well-known person, even touching him around here. They were made in Canada, with Canada. It's all worked off of humidity control. And, but he sent me pictures of what he fixed. I called him this morning to get questions on the deal. But we need to get with Les and probably pay the, we need to pay the bill and resubmit it. I'm going to submit it to the contractor.
Yeah, because we call this guy out in an emergency situation, so I think we need to pay it.
All right, did we get any movement on that yet? Or?
You made a motion, didn't you?
No, he didn't.
Okay. All right. All in favor? Airport request of matching grant funds. This, we understand this is budgeted to match this grant, is it right? Anybody got any questions?
$480,000 grant from county share, $12,000.
It's for Poplarville and Furler County Airport.
That's, what are they doing with it? Hangar?
Yeah, they built a hangar.
This is work that just was completed.
Yeah. And it's taking final inspection and everything.
the Potterville Airport Manager now?
He's the manager over there. Yes, Jim.
I know Bradley does a lot of stuff in there, but I expect some of the board, but I don't know if they.
Hudson's our go-to guy on the airport. His wife's had surgery today.
There's a group of, there's board members on there.
Uh-huh.
I think the county, Bradley, all that. Right? Is that right?
There's two appointed from Pottsville, two appointed from the county, and then there's what's called a joint appointment between the county and the spot city of Pottsville. For a 5-member board.
5-member board. I'm just curious, Brandy Holiday believes under indictment right now for embezzlement, and he's innocent until proven guilty, but I think in the best interest of the county, he might want to step back for a little while, since this is $500,000 of taxpayers' money. I'm just saying.
So this project was actually completed in October of 15. It's been complete.
Is there any more grants out there other than this one?
So this is actually after the fact, then?
Yes, this grant's completed. I think this is the only actual one that's out there. I think the others have been completed.
This seems to be the last grant coming through right now.
It sounds like a good deal, huh?
A couple others already been completed. But
Just to give you some figures here, the total cost of the project, and I'm not saying, it's nothing negative, to let everybody know, not just you. The total cost of the project was $479,470.61. The sponsor's share of cost would be 5% of the total cost, which is $23,973.53. The cost is shared by the county and the city. The county's cost would be $11,986.76. Yes.
We know 2.5%.
Right. Alright, so the city will pay the other.
Yes.
Right at $12. Make that motion, Nick. Are we through that motion? Hey, we are.
yeah, we know. Continuing, disclosure information statement.
What we need to acknowledge is we have the hospital bond and the jail bond. Because we have the two bonds, we have to file a continuing disclosure statement to IRS every year by March 31st. And, we got it filed, we just need to acknowledge that it was filed, or, the information knowledge was sent, it's been filed. We had to have it signed and, tested, and we got it sent in, and we did it filed. We got in after the board meeting the other day, we couldn't wait till today.
Which one is that?
All right, can I get a motion to acknowledge it's already signed, isn't it?
Yes.
Just need a motion to acknowledge.
Yes, sir. Right. All in favor? Okay, next is the county administrator monthly report. Has everybody looked at the report and like to acknowledge the report?
I looked at it,
we have is travel. Everybody okay with travel? If so, give me a motion to
We need
approve.
to, sorry, Adrian, but we need to include Melinda, the change clerk, in the study workshop that the county administrators go to from April 26th to 27th.
Okay.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Alright. Motor, you got anything else in open session?
No, sir.
Mr. Perry?
Yes, sir. And I guess part of this is, from what I read, I think we can do it, but I would like to see us, we have our regular meeting, we have all of our meetings here, but I would like for us to have our meeting in the middle of the month at the courthouse in Picayune in the afternoon, which would have to be a Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday afternoon, say at 6 o'clock, our middle of the month meeting, just where more public could be able to come attend. Can we leave it, from what I read, we can, did I miss something, Mr. Joe? Can we-
I'll have to check it out. I might consider at some point having a workshop to discuss stuff like other counties do. I'll check that out for that.
That's the courthouse, and this is the courthouse.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Did y'all do this once before?
Yeah, years ago, we tried it.
Had it before.
Did it fail from lack of vote or fail from legality?
Had about the same number of people showed up.
Probably didn't know that.
Right, you got 11,000 people, 11,500 in Picayune, you got 2,200 in Poplar.
Yeah, maybe it'd be worth a try.
Yeah. Give it a shot, see what happens.
Yeah, that's one last thing somebody could tell me it's.
He said it'd be one less thing that people would gripe about.
I like it there.
Same old system, you're gonna have the first meeting on Monday, finish courthouse. You can set it up anywhere you want to.
That's the way I read it.
Move them around, whatever. But still, that is the courthouse.
Yeah, B.A. Kincaid Road. Fair, did you have a chance to go look at it? I think Don went to look at it, Joe, so both of them just look at it.
We just need to put on the minutes that two supervisors from districts outside where the road is located have viewed it, and they.
I guess I should ask him if y'all, is it okay with y'all to,
Yes.
to abandon that road?
And while he was gone earlier, I'm gonna have two go to Bill Terrell. Les did some studies on it, and pending to them performing a right-of-way agreement for everybody there before we abandon.
Did the guy never got back with me on the one you and I were on?
Oh, he's called me.
He did not?
He's called me.
Well, I asked him to send me the names and addresses of people down there.
Les got all that.
So we need to put on the minutes.
Like that the committee appointed by the board, name who viewed the road, and they agree with the recommendation of the road manager and the county engineer that should be considered for that. Then what we do, we have to go through and get the public notice published and that kind of stuff.
Alright. So I guess we can.
And authorize in the motion, which I think, Zach will here and prepare the public notice.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
And I'll type up the motion for Cindy.
Okay, I got a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
evening on, getting with Waste Management, talk to them about their prices. They have, I would like to help us out at walkout. If y'all don't live out there, haven't been out there, it is a mess. And, I'd like to commend Danny and the chief of the fire department out there. They've done a great job, mainly of maintaining a cool head. Because when you got a foot of water in your house, it's just not at your best. And, these people have really carried the ball out there and done a good job. And, I hope the rest of District 4 don't think that I'm neglecting them, but I have been out there a lot. And, if you go, take some mosquito spray, because I killed one the other day with a kid on. And, just keep those guys in your prayers out there because it's a mess. Yes, sir.
Dan?
I was trying to get Sandy's attention. I've got one thing I need to get a signature on. I'm sorry.
If you want to chime in on what he's talking about.
But we will get back on the waste management project, ASAP.
And while we're on the subject of trash, for any of you that was not here at the meeting last month, we did hire a full-time litter/animal control officer, which I'm excited about, try to help clean up some of the trash in the county.
Now, if you have a complaint, who do you call? Do we call that guy? Do we call the dispatcher? Do you call it FTCA? You know, who do you call if you have a complaint, one or the other?
You can certainly call me. You can certainly call me. I'll take it from there.
Yeah, me either, if it's of course, anytime it's an emergency point, you know, if you call the sheriff's department and he's on duty, they're gonna dispatch him to that call.
I would recommend if they got a call to this office, they're gonna have a basketball down there to put stuff in the merry-go round they pick up or whatever. Like I said, if it is an emergency situation, that would be a good
I mean, if we got an officer out here and he's hired, he needs to be aware of what's going on. I mean, he's only one person. You got lots of other eyes that see stuff that's out there.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
and so if you're gonna put him to work, might as well let him know what's going on.
That's a good idea of what I just said they're gonna do, was put a basket there, but in their possession, you got sheriff's office and the light.
And litter.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can also be dispatched through, on the radio, and, some people don't like to dial 911, the folks, cows on the road, emergency. If you can't get over to anybody else, call me, I'll ring it off. But, he will be handling emergencies, and, because of that fact, if you call him and he don't come right now, just know that he's busy doing something else. And he is one guy, but he's a great guy, he's gonna do a great job, I got a lot of confidence in him. But y'all let us know what you think about it, how you think it's turning out.
All right,
Did you all come up with a replacement for the CRV?
Oh, yeah, that is one thing I was gonna ask her.
I think April wanted to,
I would be honored to accept. If you would like to recommend.
They'll vote her in, they'll send a letter up there, you know, to the PRVO in Columbia.
I do apologize, I did mean, I saw her earlier, and I was gonna ask her before I put it out in the open session.
Sure.
So you are willing?
I would be honored to accept, yes.
Let's go ahead and put it in the form of a motion. She wasn't here last time, but she considered, we accepted his letter of resignation, and she was gonna consider it, so she said she had it. So put that in the form of a motion, I'd like to nominate her for, board member for PRBO.
I'll second that motion.
all in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for doing that.
You get Dan. Dan, what you got?
This is, one of the siren transfers from the city to the city of Poplarville. Patrick actually was in office when this happened. Poplarville did a lot of research, took a long time, and since that, now you're the president, so they just wanted to get the name changed and re-signed before they signed.
Okay, just turn the outdoor warning systems over to the city of Poplarville.
That's right. Well, I gotta say, I do want to thank the board and the county administrator for putting up with me during the storms. It was I was operating on no sleep for several days, and some of my requests were outlandish and had to be reacted upon right away. But everybody either forgave me or did a good job getting me what we needed. We had a lot of people that demanded a lot of different type rescue situations and different vehicles, and it just happened right away. You really couldn't foresee it. A lot of these flood events were historic. You know, nobody had seen, unless you had lived at Waukee for over 40 years, you haven't seen anything like that. So being prepared for something that none of us have ever seen before was difficult. But we managed. We had 0 injuries. Nobody got hurt. Everybody, as far as I know, has a place to stay. We have some volunteer groups that have come together and have been working with me, trying to help people that just, some people need to get their homes, and others just need to help moving their furniture to the roadway. The road department's been very gracious, putting up with me, and we've seen each other at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the mornings throughout this whole event. But it was a long event because it started in the northern part of the county on a Friday, and really is just now ending at Waukee. The water is finally getting out of there, so we had to deal with all these rescues up here. We had several people had to get out of their homes, and then as that water made its way down to the Picayune area, we had to deal with it all the way down through all the different, I know I broke it down by fire districts. You got your road foreman, but and then after all that water was through, then the river came up. So it was a taxing event, and had supervisors come out and check on me, ask me if I need anything. They dropped me some things, out there at Waukee at different times. But Adrian, everything I asked him to do, he jumped on it right away. But anyway, I just want to say thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you for what you do, Dan. How many houses actually went underwater, got damaged?
44 major, 87 were affected.
Okay.
And that's not considering Wheatfield. We still haven't been able to get in there and do a damage assessment. I think it just went down last day or two, but my damage assessment teams weren't available. Yeah.
Mr. Miller?
Yeah, y'all may have done this. I got here late. Could we get an update on the cyber crime investigation?
I think we're fixing to talk about some contract agreements for audit for that department. I was fixing to talk about that anyhow, but I wasn't here, and I thought about it a lot, and talked to some folks and did some checking and looking. And I've come to my conclusion. One thing was what I found out what went on. The way I feel about things now is I'm ready to bring someone in to help us with our IT. Gotta start picking on and talking with them. They're self-sufficient. They tell us before that something breaks. They'll know it before we know it. We've had a lot of problems with IT. We can't keep up as it is now. And depending on, I guess, our investigation on what's going on with this other process in the Chancellor Clerk's office and what went on there, control of who had to what in the computer systems and things of that nature. I'd like to suspend the IT people until we get this investigation done and bring Data Star in to help us. And I don't know if that's something how we can go about doing this, but I think they're well capable of conducting our business for our county on a temporary basis until we get all this ironed out. That's my opinion to the board. I'm the president. I can't make motions, but I can hand this thing off to do it. So, has anybody got any questions about what I said? Or
I had to leave in the last meeting, but I know that you called Michael in after I had left, and so I don't know what happened with that, but still need to have understanding of what's going on before you act and put a suspension in place, I think. Wouldn't that be correct, Mr. Smith?
Yeah, I think this would be a proper subject for executive session if y'all wish to address it, so I think that would be something to be considered in a few minutes when we talk about when we're gonna go in executive session.
Okay, well, I know a lot of these people know what was going on, I was trying to, and I wasn't here, and they wanted to know, let's talk about it, but, and and nobody's called me or anything since everybody, I just kinda had to dig up on my own.
You don't need to be swept under the rug.
No, but you gotta have a proper procedure.
Exactly, but it don't need to be
You
swept under the rug.
gotta be allowed to go through the proper, that's all I asked for in the last meeting as well as today. It's handled it properly and not act hastily, and then, have to come back and redo something that we should have took our time and done thoroughly to begin with.
Well, I think people are looking for administrative leave, which is, if you look at any precedent of any board, that's usually how they handle it.
Well,
You can't, let me finish, you got a guy that's been accused of some pretty serious things.
Absolutely.
And you're leaving him in control of those things.
No.
That's not, and you're my supervisor, I'm disappointed in you
Right.
for the way you're handling it, you know?
Well, no, it's a policy that's in place that you just can't go and start firing people.
Nobody said fire, administrative
Well,
leave, it's a difference.
Well, still, there's a policy in place, and it's gotta be done correct.
Absolutely, administrative leave.
And that's why we're looking into it.
Okay. That's what I need, that's what I need.
We gotta be thorough, even administrative leave, let us be thorough with that process. That's why we have legal counsel here.
Yeah. I just, outside looking in, I think this is an important time in this county for us to be as open as possible with everybody. And I might be wrong, but I think every candidate up there ran on transparency.
Absolutely.
Let's be transparent,
Absolutely. And I know that I've probably blown it from day one with some people for not giving them what they wanted. But I gotta be thorough at the end of the day with whatever I do. And that's all I ask for with transparency.
Right.
Without going through the proper policy and procedure. And hopefully the citizens would understand that you gotta be thorough. I wanna be thorough in my job. And so I don't wanna be second guessing anything I've done by making a hasty decision.
Well, and I think a good thing to do, and, be careful who you listen to. Research it yourself. I trust your judgment. Research it, go out and study it,
And that's an opinion, I think, that a lot of people, people have been slinging names at me of things that people have been saying about who I'm listening to, and I'm like fair, and I try to stay to myself so that I don't have influences of everybody, because everybody's got an opinion, sir. Everybody does.
Absolutely.
And I gotta listen to all the citizens. And to say that I'm listening to this person or that person, I tell you what, I don't have people all in my phone telling me what to do and how to do it. A lot of this stuff comes up when I get here. Last meeting, I didn't even know we were about to get bombarded. So who I listened to make a decision last time, and I didn't even know what was about to, kids came in here like a lynch mob in here last time.
Yeah, I think that's unfair. I think that's
what happened in Poplarville Town Square.
No, that's unfair. You know that's unfair. Citizens are concerned and they come up here and then you're gonna call them.
Yeah, but I'm wondering as a supervisor, I'm wondering how in the world that somebody knew that was gonna happen last time. I sure didn't.
Well, it might have been the guy directing the meeting the last time. He didn't share it with you, but again, do your homework.
That's what I'm
do your
saying.
research.
That's what I'm saying.
But don't blame the citizens for showing up being
I
concerned
gotta
about
know
it.
something's going on before I can research it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
The man tried to get on the agenda last week, and he didn't know that he had to be there Thursday evening, and he called it Friday, and could not get on the agenda. That's why you were bombarded.
Friday, the meeting was on Wednesday.
Right, but he didn't know that the deadline to get on the agenda was Thursday evening.
Yeah, I still understand that, but still, the meeting was the next Wednesday.
Right.
When I showed up here, and walked in, that's when I knew that everybody was about to take over the meeting.
Right, it was,
we were out of the loop. I know Farron had to feel the same way I did, because we were out of the loop. I'll call you anytime.
Please, somebody. You're in my district. If you knew it, you were here. You're in my district. You give me a call. Let me know that's about to happen.
When I'm not working,
You just said you're in my district. You call me and let me know that's about to
I
happen.
am in your district. I'll gladly call, publicize your phone number and I'll call.
Yeah, hey, my phone number, Malcolm's already published my phone number.
Yeah, the county one's not published.
I'll give it to you.
I didn't call you because I was scared you'd tell me I had an action right.
No. See, that's what I'm saying. Some things have been done. I asked you that question. I think it's a fair question.
Right, did I have an action right?
I asked you that question.
Right.
Because of some things we were discussing.
Right.
When you came to me.
Right.
And I asked you that question. I thought it was a fair question.
Right.
And I asked you that question, and I ask a lot of questions when people come, because I'm trying to get an angle. I'm trying to get an understanding of why you feel the way you feel. Okay, so that one question shouldn't have me and you at odds with one another to a point to where you feel like, okay, now I feel like Ms. Crawford got action ground here. Come on, give me a break. Me too, all day. Yes, sir. Ms. Houston.
So we're dealing with IT. Have any decisions been made about the county phone, the property that has in the county?
Have any decision? No. I know that's gonna come in the department head meeting today. That's just about all our department head meetings been about. Is the phone system. And I'm gonna move one day to take the department head meeting out if that's all we're gonna talk about, and we can't do nothing about it.
I was talking to Stuart Ramsey. Dad started asking about the phone systems too. I'm not an IT guy. I'm the wrong person to be talking. I was trying to do an investigation on what we could do for a phone system and told him what we were dealing with. And he said he proposed it a few years ago through C-Spire, doing something different with our phone systems. It might actually save us money.
What'd you say?
So he's getting a proposal together to kind of show us what, what it would cost to go that route. Malcolm, you understand what I'm talking about? I told him, he's gonna email it to us, so next board meeting, maybe I can bring that and we'll see if that's something we wanna look into for our phone systems or not. We're talking about $300,000, I think, was the estimate on fixing what we got now.
He said,
Well, I know we're having problems in our building the last couple of weeks, Marvin's department and mine both. Our phones are going up and down daily throughout the day. People will try to call us, we can't hear them. We try to call out, we get a busy signal, and this has been going on for the last
Gotta be
couple of
frustrating.
weeks. It's very frustrating, because our clients can't get in touch with us. The DHS workers can't get in touch with their foster parents, their kids that they're dealing with. And so it's hard for us to do our job. And Michael sent me a text message this morning saying he was meeting with the phone people today to come up with a solution. But this has been going on for weeks now, and it's hard to operate when the phones don't work.
Years.
Yeah,
More
but
than weeks.
the weeks, I mean, it's gotten really bad in the last couple of weeks, really bad.
Comes and goes in spurts for y'all, know that.
Every day it's going down multiple times during the day.
yeah, I don't wanna quit having myself, I don't wanna quit having department head meetings, I wanna fix the problem.
I just, I don't want that to be the only thing.
Yeah, we'll talk about other
Well,
things.
yeah, we wanna move on to something else.
I got you.
But we have not had anything brought to us, a solution to the problem, but, so I guess we're gonna come on home. And, I guess that's the reason Sandy talked with, somebody at Data Star, and he explained a lot to me on the phone, but it was reasonable what he was talking about, because he said he could put in a total business solution phone for about, I want to say between $25 and $30 per telephone.
That was the same guy you had mentioned.
Yeah. No, different guy than I told you. But they had about the same figures in mind for what it would cost.
I guess my main concern that we're in high risk of children being hurt, that we cannot get in touch with. And that's a major problem for me.
Absolutely.
That's a major problem.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President, back to the Chancery Clerk. January, February, March, we're moving into April. We're not getting no rush about doing this or that, at least to me, like. We weren't fixing to go into 4 months, always, is it or isn't it, what?
We fixing to talk about the audit, in executive session. And we're gonna move forward with that when we come out. We'll let everybody know our decision, what we're gonna do.
We're taxpayers, and you straighten things up, that's gonna be economical development, and she's gonna put the paper there. That's-
Well, and, you know, Easter Sunday, the preacher talked about us being in a broken country, and something like this happens in your county, people, you know, the percentage of people believing what government does is right is percentage is low, and this brings it down even lower. So I feel like it's our job to ensure the people of the county what's going on and give an example of what happened and the truth, so.
Economical development.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we get a copy of your audit?
Sure.
Thank you.
Mr. Paul Ingram, you ain't said a thing. What's wrong with you today?
I just come to say hello.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Mr. Paul.
Thank you.
Well, Ms. Darling, do you have anything today? Sorry.
No, I'm gonna get with this little guy, because I've got 2 letters that have been mailed to them, so I'm gonna get with him with a smile. No, it's all good, I've got documentation, you know me.
If anybody don't have anything else, we need to.
I'd like to say something. I thank y'all for putting this wheelchair around me. You don't miss the well till the well runs dry. And if you live long enough, you're gonna be weak. And I appreciate it a lot, having everything more accessible. I hope you'll continue to work for it.
We will.
Thank you.
Mr. Ted is one of our seniors, and that man right there is a miracle. And I'll tell you about it later if you wanna know.
Appreciate you coming, Mr. Ted.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I did get a motion for me to sign what I've already signed to give the Poplarville alarm system to the city.
I'll make a motion to transfer the sirens to City of Poplarville.
Second, all in favor? Okay. And here's something just come in out off the press. I have a resignation in the circuit clerk's office for personnel, so I need to acknowledge the resignation of this person. I need a motion to do so.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? My neighbor. Okay, somebody said something. Did anybody want to say anything else before going to closed session? All right, can I get a motion to go into closed session, see if we need a executive session? Motion. Second. All in favor? Thank y'all.
Now y'all have to leave, you gotta go back here.
Thanks for video.
That's strictly up to y'all.
Just to make sure.
And you are pretty awesome. It's a nice guy. He's good.
We get a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? And now we are going to eat lunch. Get a motion for lunch. We'll come back at 1 o'clock for our meeting with our department heads and finish the rest of our meeting for today. Get a motion for that.
These are announced, no action was taken in executive session.
That's great.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Be back at 1 for department head meeting and finish the rest of our meeting for today. Kind of been floating around the room talking about different things, different departments that are needed or it's a problem for you to run your departments. Anybody want to kick us off today and we'll go around the room kind of?
I got something I just want to say to start with. I know the phone system is probably still a major issue. We don't have any solutions on it yet. I think Michael may be working on getting some specs together. Yes, sir. And then a guy from Data Star is supposed to present some stuff by next meeting. Is that correct? Sandy, did you get maybe by next meeting?
Yeah.
Present to us. So we are kind of working.
You know, in May and June, we have a lot of lightning and thunderstorms, and, you know, we're talking about putting some lightning rods on the jail. And if y'all want to discuss that, or maybe look at that before that lightning starts hitting.
You know, I told you I would check on something, and I actually forgot about it, but Coast Electric at one time, I remember they offered a whole house lightning arrestor that they would put on, and, it even came with it for so much a month, and so much a month added to your bill, if something was damaged by lightning, they would pay for it.
I don't think they have that for commercial. I thought we see it back when. It used to be like surge detectors, it was like basically. But I'll find it out soon.
And I'll add, they lose a lot of equipment in that lightning hit. We've lost equipment in that lightning hit.
Skip's told me it's as much as 50 or 60,000 a year, and I've never confirmed that we lose them down there for lightning strikes.
The problem is, our insurance is up for, you usually don't get to that, but it'll hit 3, 4, 5 computers at a time, and I think the deductible is 10,000 per incident, and then, we can't really.
What went on the other night, something went on with the transfer generator out there again at the jail, didn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about it. You know, Shane?
Happened the other night.
My understanding is the transfer switch didn't transfer to the backup generator. That's my understanding.
Yes, I think something like that.
It's
One got half power and one transport.
They're supposed to be the cylinder, supposed to, something like that's what I was told, they're supposed to get that.
Have we ever did anything with thermostats, Michael?
I asked him about that.
We probably just get someone to come do them.
He said he had somebody lined up to come do it.
Okay.
He told me Friday when I talked to him.
All right, I'll ask them about that.
To my knowledge, they haven't been changed, have they? No.
Okay. All right, anybody knows, does everybody know we got an animal control, litter control officer now? He's in the back room, Andy Slade. So, we're trying to implement some things for him.
We'll be calling you. You and everybody else.
I know, I don't know how much in justice court you got with anybody over dogs or anything, but, gonna add a little workload to you probably, but when we was at a seminar last week, in an ambassador, seminar for economic development, me and Malcolm's on the board, and Hudson is as well, and, on our checklist, that was one of our things that bring it to help with economic development in your community. They had a list of things, but that was 2 things I was happy to say we just checked off, you know. You don't realize that. And people ask that when they come in your area, if you got animal control, litter control. Amazing that it was on there. Glad to have Danny Joe with us. You got anything you want to add today?
Yeah, I would like to arrange a meeting with y'all and possibly the sheriff or the chief or Captain Quaid to where we can get everything. Right now, everybody's like, what do we do? How are we going to do this? Whatever. We need to set some type of precedence to know when to call, when not to call, what to call on, and then I need to know where to go. I just got a text from Cooley, you know, the load of furniture dumped on Murder Creek Road. I'm fixing to go out there, and of course I'll call dispatch and they can send the litter crew out there and get that. But I don't think we have an understanding yet. The sheriff's department and I are gonna work great together, regardless of what goes on, and I'm gonna work great with this. But we just need some type of working order to make all of this happen. Right.
I've been talking to, I haven't talked to him since I talked to y'all earlier, so.
Right, yeah, exactly. He and I talked out there a few minutes ago about it, about what we talked about, but,
I would like for them to provide a box. I can go every morning by the sheriff's department, and if they have some type of animal call during the night, I can pick that up, follow up on it. If they find heavy litter, they can call dispatch, tell them, okay, here's litter on such and such road near number 373 Smith Road, whatever it might be. I can go follow up on it. If I'm on duty, they have an animal call. Of course, I have a radio. They can call me. If I don't answer the radio, I've got, you know, the phone. They can call me on the phone and go to it. Just, we need to know what, who, what, when, where, and how, and kind of get a good balance there so we know what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. We just need to sit down, all of us together, and write a set of protocols. And that way everybody's on the same page. It's not he, she, or they see it.
This is going to relieve the sheriff's department tremendously on a lot of calls. And then it's going to help us do some prosecuting, because a lot of times they go out there, they just don't have time to sit down and go through bags to find names, because they got other calls backing up on them.
And that was, I think I can speak for some of them, all maybe all in here, because we've been talking about it a lot, and that was the reason for us. One of the reasons is to help alleviate a lot of the calls from the sheriff.
If y'all got calls Thursday or Friday of last week about that cow being along the interstate, it was actually in somebody's field down by Nicholson.
I heard about it, but I didn't.
Yeah, so got a couple Thursday night and Friday morning started getting a lot. Finally, I called Danny Joe and asked him to check into it. He got right on it, and within an hour called back and said the cow was in a barn and being treated, so that kind of settled all that down. So
That's been going on for almost a week, the cow being down, and then I spoke to the guy about what to do. I called my brother, which is, you know, handled cows all his life. He told me what to tell him. I told him. Then I talked to him Saturday. He said the cow was up walking on her own. So everybody wants to know the benefit of the cow. She is still alive.
And one thing we need to talk about too, and this is where we have to get Mr. Joe's advice on, is that we had talked about is when there's some animals on the north end, some large animals that are starving to death. And if a person refuses to do anything with them and they're starving to death, what are we going to do with them? If you call a vet, go out there and euthanize them, who's going to pay for that? Can we charge that back to their property taxes? The county has to step in? I don't think Mr. Joe would listen to me.
I'm listening.
He don't listen.
I don't think you can do that. We'll just have to check it out. Pretty dangerous when you start euthanizing somebody else's stuff.
But if it's down dying, I mean.
There's a Supreme Court case from Pearl County. It went all the way to the Mississippi Supreme Court, where it went in, man had horses in bad condition, got a vet out there, the vet put 3 or 4 of them down. It went all the way up to the Mississippi Supreme Court, and the Mississippi Supreme Court found the landowners favored the county, the vet, and everybody did not have proper authority to put the animals down here.
I'm pretty sure it's part of the same horses too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the state law. If the county puts them down, they're responsible.
Yes, and it went, the guy was charged, and, you know, he was actually convicted in justice court, but everything was thrown out when it went all the way up the chain, and,
I had a question about litter. When you got a pile of household garbage, people's made a dump on the side of the road, it's not actually on county property. What do you do about that?
That's illegal dumping.
there's statutes that cover illegal dumping by state DQ and all like that. But the animal statutes are a little bit more.
What we was asking about is getting it cleaned. Who fits the bill for it? That's what we've been trying to figure out for the last 2 meetings. If you can find somebody that can.
It's real delicate.
That's the problem. That's what me and you are
Right,
going to
that's why the officer can be so important in how to handle.
Well, that was just a question we had talked about earlier.
Would it be animal different than small animals? Don't we just go pick up small animals that are being mistreated?
It depends.
There's different laws for
Cassie, is
large
it still
It gets
the
complicated.
5 days?
Bad.
Is it still the 5 days under the animal statute used to have a thing where you could seize it immediately, but the county could
discrepancy among the court as to what was considered neglect or whether these animals were in poor health or not in poor, because it was subjective. Man, they looked terrible to me. They looked like they was about to die. And some of them did actually die on their own without being euthanized, but that was a mess.
I was in on that particular case, and it was horrendous how bad they were treated.
But in the end, Supreme Court ruled.
So what can we do about somebody starving to death like that, you know?
It usually you gotta have a court order to even get them, right? Is that true?
Yeah.
This particular case that I'm talking about, the other animals, they're not native to this area. They were brought in here, and I haven't got a close eye on them, but there's another gentleman who has, and he's a cowman, and he's very concerned about them. And I'm gonna have to make a walk in the field to look at them, because the owners are only up here once in a while. And once I look at those, I'm gonna take photographs, and we're gonna come back and we'll start from there and take it step by step and see what we can do in this case.
I'm saying, Ken, you had that dog deal there in McNeil. I don't remember how that went. I don't think it went good, did it? Some of them was dead.
They had one dog that we, the rest of them were kind of eating each other. They was hungry, and had a bulldog left, and then we went and met Frank Graves, went and got it, and had to get a court order to get it, and then went all the way through the system. She ended up getting the dog back. We had to foster home, someone taking it and everything. Court order to give the dog back. It's all because of the paper trail. Some goes to the paper trail, and that's how we lost the case. So us having somebody like Danny involved, this shouldn't happen again. You know, because he's gonna know everything he's know about how to handle paperwork and proper procedure to do it. So.
Also, I had another case probably 5 or 6 weeks ago. I got started on it before I took this position. It was on Bowley Creek at White Sand. Every time, as you well know, we've had a lot of rain, and every time it rained, one of the property owners south of there was having a lot of garbage coming by in the creek, very concerned, and he had called me, and it was on private property and was not able to get to it, and due to the fact of the water being as high as it was, I wasn't able to go in by boat, but I had some photos made of it by him. Made contact through someone that knew the property owner and told them they needed to clean it up. They did not. So I made contact with a game warden, and he has, Joey Harrington, he has the right to go anywhere there to, you know, by the waterway, and had the ability to. So Joey went, found it, observed it, found it to be, it was a very big dump. He contacted DEQ. DEQ came out and they handled the case. That's cleaned up, and the Friends of Bowley Creek tickled to death with the outcome of that.
Nicholson thanks you for putting the signs out that they're watching you litter, so we appreciate it.
And that's not an empty threat. We did a little research. We found that Danny is those cameras.
They're on their way, by the way.
We are watching.
Bad. It was real bad.
Yeah, the sign's gonna be truthful before long. Cody, you got anything you want to add on this before we move on?
Just what Mr. Perry was saying, and that's what me and him talking about, and it's still, he may know, have a better idea of it, and I've asked Mr. Joe if we come up with any ideas on cleaning these dump sites that are being done on people's property but not by them. It's not about the prosecution, which he can handle that if we find somebody's name or something, but it's who's footing the bill for it. Who's gonna charge, it's the money. We've got dump sites that are gonna cost a small fortune to clean up, and who's gonna do that? That's what I'm trying to figure out, because that's kind of what I'm stuck with right now, is a few of those.
Mr. Perry, you were...
The only avenue that we have is where we get certain monies from DQ. And in the past few years, we've used that for household hazardous waste day. That same money can be spent on illegal dump site cleanups. We've done it in the past. It's a, you know, like I said, 525. We usually get about 40,000 a year out of it, and it comes in 2 lots, about 20-some thousand each time.
they have to approve how that's, go on case by case thing, or once they give us
When we do the application, we tell them, and that's what we're working on doing, this, changing this one from household hazard put up there, it's gonna be for illegal dump site cleanup. So once the grants all finalized and awarded, then we go in, and the way we actually did it in the past was identify the sites, like site A, B, C, have pictures, and, we'd actually got with some contractors to submit quotes on it. And, have DQ involved to monitor to make sure when everything's cleaned up, the site's cleaned up correctly and left that way. So we do have to end up eventually get permission from the landowner to get on there.
That was my next question.
If it's off the road, far enough off the road, you can't kind of stay within the right of way.
How Ozone going? Looks like
I think they might have stopped on it.
Really?
I noticed since the middle of last week, I hadn't seen anything move. They were chugging along pretty good at it. They were hauling trailer load, but I think they might either burn out or the trailer fell apart. The trailer probably got wore out. It seemed to have stopped. So I'm gonna contact them. I noticed it earlier on the way back up here that it was the same as it did Friday. So,
I told Malcolm, I seen them moving and going to Hennifield, looked like they was moving to Hennifield.
I just kept,
We got a phone call this morning.
if you'd have seen the trailer they were using,
Like the stuff they have.
oh, it was bad. I just kept hoping and praying the trailer didn't end up in the ditch somewhere between there and Millard. That would become another problem. It was bad. But I'm gonna check in on that the next day or so and see if I can find out what stopped their momentum, whether it be that they've given up or they're having mechanical problems, but
There's some people actually been calling, wanting to know what's going on and interested in buying that property.
I think it's a process of being bought. And the new owner is the one cleaning it up because the previous owner didn't have the means financially, or he didn't have a trailer big enough, he didn't have no way of doing it. The new owner said, I'll clean it. Basically what it came down to, I think, is the new owner got a bargain price on the property for that guy to walk away from it, and he's cleaned it. So it was a risk to let someone else buy the property and me deal with a new owner. But the old owner wasn't doing anything anyway, so it was kind of it was a risk, but it wasn't, if that makes sense. Because he wasn't doing anything anyway. But that's where that one stands. I'll have some more information. I just noticed earlier today that it looks like it hasn't been touched. So I was kind of hoping to see some progress over the weekend since the rain had quit. And it didn't.
Albert, you got anything?
I got a complaint this morning, I gotta go follow up on it in Nicholson, that old chemical plant. Somebody's trying to do some demolition down there, and I had some people that was interested in buying it. I talked to those a little while ago, and they backed out because the bank said they're not gonna come down on price since there's some materials left there. So I'm gonna look at it this afternoon, take some pictures the best I can, and I'm probably call DEQ first thing in the morning, because it's gonna have to be in their hands to make people clean it up.
Put it by the interstate.
No, and it's to the point that it's time to call DEQ and let them step in and get with the landowner, because he's refusing to move in and forward with it, so.
Yeah, I think he may be in jail.
Well, you know, he's out again. I saw him again the other day, and I said he's down there trying to scrap some of the metal or something to make some money.
I didn't realize he got out.
Yeah, I saw him down at Timmy Square the other day, and he didn't see me, thank goodness.
Okay.
Albert, did Mr. Bobby Robbins, was he the one that called you?
No.
Because he called me about it.
Well, I called Bobby about something else, and he mentioned it to me, but I kind of knew it'd been going on already. And I was hoping these people were going to buy it, but they was fixing to submit the paperwork when they went down and looked at it, and some other stuff has been hauled in now. So it's time to step back and let the big boys come in and put their foot down on it.
Mr. John, you got anything? Eddie? No, thank you.
I did have another question for Mr. Joe, I'm sorry. The ICC property maintenance codes that I've been using for the last several years, that we adopted with the building codes, the property maintenance part of it. How much, I know when we get to the point of us going and cleaning a property, usually the times we've done it, we use the state regulator. But how much teeth, I guess I'm asking, does the ICC codes that we adopted have if they don't coincide word for word with those state laws?
I think you've gotta go under the state laws.
Okay.
Yeah, because they provide the procedure that you can use to actually go do it.
Yeah, well, the ICC does too, and we adopted that, and that's what I was asking. I really don't know if they can both be done, or the state supersedes it regardless.
What difference would it make if you got one that works that you know, the state code, I don't see.
Yeah.
You reach a certain point with the ICC where they're not cooperating.
It actually gives us the ability to go on a piece of property and clean it without getting the homeowner's permission, or the landowner's permission. It actually says you can do it if it's a public safety or health issue. That's why I'm wondering if it has teeth, or if it just if it gets to that point and just kind of loses its.
I really think you need to follow the ones that the state has provided, the legislature has provided that.
Okay.
And I'll look at it with you, but that's the way we've always done it, use the state code, which is real simple, and they've liberalized it where you don't have the notice problems you used to have.
Okay.
So come by and we'll look at it, and, but I reached the conclusion before that it was safer to do it under the state codes where you've got the protection the legislature's given us.
Yeah, okay.
Back to jail too, Sheriff, I never heard anything back from Cody's place about the deadline idea to the shower, so apparently he was not able to come up with a portable machine to do it. So I got to start looking elsewhere.
We're gonna try your machine with inmates, or?
If you want to.
Okay, we'll try it. See.
Get some sound, get leaders and or something.
If I'm not putting in there?
Deadline? I thought about, that deadline, I don't know, I talked about that, also, he said, wait it for 2 minutes, or he gave me all the information, I said, if he could explain that into the Schneider, to me, it's, it's a seal or waterproof, but he said, his machine's not portable. Yeah. There's no way to get it there. We're just looking for less expensive ways, and it needs sandblasting to take the existing paint off before you put really any kind of coating on it. And the guy that gave the price on doing the waterproofing was willing to come out and try it with his pressure washer. It's got an attachment on it that will siphon sand. He wanted a lot.
Like $900 a room to do it, yeah.
Yeah, and a bunch of guys
They wanted $825 just to come out and try it.
yeah, see if it work. I told the sheriff, I've got a pressure washer, or they've got one also, and I've got the attachment. I go out there, and the inmates could use my attachment in their pressure washer. And clean the old paint off, but we still got to either get back to that guy on he said he could waterproof it. It was real expensive.
I think, if I remember right, between $15,000 and $16,000 for waterproof, and once we get it sandblasted.
Which is near the shower that was there, that first shower, I guess, it wasn't that bad. We just got to get them clean. He said just has to mix it back to the mayor block.
Yeah.
Raw block, and stick it here to it.
All right.
We tell you, one time, didn't we try like swimming pool paint? That didn't work.
We did something a few years ago on, and I can't remember what we did. but we
Hilton Smith actually came out,
We had
put on some kind of special epoxy paint or some sort, and that didn't work either.
Well, I asked Red Top, because I think he had been done it one time, he said he had got the product from Sherwood Williams, and he said it was an epoxy, a 2-part epoxy. He said it was very expensive and didn't hold up any time at all.
Yeah, I think the one that kept, I think held up the longest, didn't it? I think out of everything we tried, but I couldn't remember if we ever tried swimming pool paint or not.
We tried marine paint.
Did we?
Green, yeah,
So, like we do it, so we get line.
All right. Chancery Court, got anything?
As far as the IT, like the internet upgrade and status and everything.
all I understand is everything's in, except waiting on AT&T, they've got the line in, and to give us the public IP address to fire it off.
We actually got that Friday. That link has been turned up.
Okay.
I've got Andy set whenever he gives me a time to come back and actually make the modifications on the firewall for us to be using it full time. Right now it's doing spillover traffic. So when the connections get built up, it will use it some, but it's not the primary, so it's not using that by default. But it is in, it is up. Like I said, it happened Friday, and I forgot to teach you the on that.
All right.
Perfect. You don't have that? Well, we got your counter approved.
Well, thank you.
Go ahead.
That will help.
Yeah.
Oh, in the next meeting, it's your turn to bring cupcakes.
Cupcakes. All right, I'll take care of that next time.
Justice Court? We talked a little bit this morning about your contract. I think Joe's gonna review it, but we kinda, what did we ever decide on that? I know it's went blank.
We talked about advertising for bids on that, didn't we?
And different,
And there was, remember, we had the other people from up there that we weren't satisfied with and canceled their contract. And they had asked us when they left if we would give them notice if we were gonna do that again. But I don't know if there are others you want to contact or anybody else that does more local stuff than this company. This company, the only thing they had in Mississippi was at Diamond Head. And Diamond Head really hadn't been in the collection business very long because they hadn't been a city very long and there really wasn't much of a track record there. So most of these people's business was in Florida and Georgia, and just some curiosity about how you came to recommend them versus others in case there are others doing it. Other counties may use other methods.
The other counties are using most of them use the probation, and we don't wanna get into that. So where I've met them at is whenever I go to the mandatory training, there's different vendors there. And I think that's really, there's only 2 or 3 that have come and presented and talked to me about it. I really, to be honest with you, I know that everyone's concerned about the old fines, but, the only reason I really want them is because the state's gonna reimburse us for so many, it's just certain charges. We were on it before, and I just remember the first check was like $1,500. They send us money quarterly if we have a collection agency. So, to be honest, I haven't done a whole lot of research on it.
it's
The,
The only ones I know are from the conferences.
Michelle, they've been, at the MAS, the main conference on the coast too. The director of Diamond Head or however, whatever they got in place now is Southern Free. Who used to be a former county administrator and actually worked with a different collection company after that. This group here has been, had their name changed 2 or 3 times and bought out or something or another like that. And, I think there was 2 or 3 that had sent Kathy come down her and get proposals and gave her proposals. And of the groups, this one was, their collection rate, or, charge, what they were gonna charge the county was less than the others. I think they're charging 18% of what's collected, where the other was charging 25%.
And it's 30% for out of state.
Out of state, right. And the law allows us to put on 25% increase for in-state, 50% of the increase for out of state. Under the old one we had with Southern Financial, it was 25, I think, or 35 flat. It wasn't been better if it's in-state or out of state. But there is some things in the law that if we do not have a outside there's some monies the state's not gonna refund us, and one, it doesn't cost us anything really to have them sitting in there, because if they don't collect any money, they don't get it. And,
I had a question on our, are we already active on that, thank you, mass on the insurance that oversees the hospital bills and stuff?
yeah, they were down last week and actually come back here and picked up some bills that had been sent up here that they're gonna review. We met with the jail last week and they're working on, you know, your problem cards and everything and how it's gonna be done in a report.
All right, we need to let, I don't think, last week I was on.
Yeah, I talked with Pam, that was the old deal, that was actually an invoice she was pushing from back in December.
He had told us not to pay any more, either the bills that we get in the next few weeks to send to them, so that's what they're gonna do.
And what we had that had not been paid, he come back here, I picked him up from over there and she said.
Veterans? How's our veterans doing? Got one asleep on the front row up there.
I can sleep anywhere.
He let me get hit in the head Saturday. We was at the street fair and I was over by his tent. 3 tent blew. Everybody said, watch out. I turned around on the leg, hit me right between the head. He set me up for disaster. But how's the veterans? What's going on?
Everything is going really good. Finally got my budget under control, so got that report, so, it's, and I'm not doing bad on my budget, you know, but, my budget's good, and, I do appointments, and it helps controls the veteran, it helps save them money from coming up to the office and I'm not there. I did have to switch, my phones to my cell phone for, about a week, because my phone system just totally went out, and then, Michael tweeted a little bit and got it back. It's still 1984, which everybody knows that, but at least I was able to get it off my cell phone. Other than that, I have a good working relationship with the veterans, and so I don't have any problems. Right now I'm able to maintain them, get them in within a few days and see them, and so, and I do allow time for walk-in, if they wanna walk in, I'll work them on lunch. If they're sitting out there, I'll see them, and so, I am having a little issue with Lamar County veterans. A lot of them wants to come down. I'm seeing more and more Lamar County veterans, and they got 3 service officers.
Look at this list for tomorrow that you give me. Population is 3,994. That's recorded, I guess, for y'all's office. Is that right?
Yeah.
We had 5.
Yeah, that's just ones that's receiving benefits, but, you still get a lot of like walk-ins, information and stuff like that, that's not receiving benefits or, want to get into the VA healthcare,
Why they say they come down here today, say?
Word now, they say that they hear that, then you just come see me and I'll say you've got 3 service officers in your county. And like, can I please come see you? And I'm like, well, remember, he's a veteran.
Right.
A veteran's a veteran. And, but if you want to spend the gas money, come all the way down and see me, you can. But it's really starting to increase, and it doesn't take away from my Pearl County veterans, but it is increasing.
Workload for you.
Right now, it's interfering with me being able to delay, a couple weeks out, but, like I said, if it keeps increasing, it's gonna start interfering with, seeing the, slot in time for the Pearl County veterans.
All right. Mike, you probably pretty much answered to go. Is there anything else you?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. Any board members got anything before we shut the workshop down?
I've already got it.
All right, thank you all for coming.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate y'all.
If you talk to him, I'm working on technically skirting the gray area. I'm looking, I'm trying to get him right. He's gonna wind up off of that gray area somehow.
One of the